Hey, it's Meg Soper here, keynote speaker, author, registered nurse. Proud to say I've been practicing nursing for over 30 years and I hung up the stethoscope in 2015, but I will always be a nurse. And I remember being in the thick of it in 2003 during the SARS outbreak and how important it was to lean into ourselves and to lean into each other to get through it. We really have to dig deep to stay strong. And so today I'm excited to share with you my 3 tips for bolstering resilience and maintaining a positive mindset. So tip number 1, at the beginning of the day, think of one thing that you are grateful for. This sets our intention for the day. It's a positive intention for the day. So maybe it's the fact that you woke up, or the fact that you feel healthy, that you have an amazing team at work, your work family that you lean into, or your home environment that you're grateful for, the fact that you can turn on the tap and drink the water that comes out, the impact that you make with the work that you do. We sometimes get caught up in challenging times and forget about all the things that we have to be grateful for. Tip number 2, to stay within your circle of influence. And this is inspired by Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And my favorite one, be proactive. It talks about how we sometimes get caught up in our circle of concern, all those things that take our mental bandwidth that we don't have control over. How long will this situation last? How are my kids going to manage? Will I stay healthy? Can I stay fit? Or will I get sick? Will my partner ever trim his nose hairs? They're out of control. These are all questions that we don't have the answer to, but we do have a choice about where we spend our mental energy, and we can focus it in on our circle of influence. So those are our thoughts, our behaviors, our actions, our attitude, all those things we do have control over. The food we choose to eat, whether we choose to work out or spend 15 to 20 minutes outside, how we communicate with our team at home or our team at work. If we share our thoughts or our concerns with people who we trust, because that energy has to go somewhere. How we spend our time on our commute, if we listen to podcasts or music, things that lift us up as opposed to the news, and setting ourselves up for success with sleep, shutting off that laptop 30 minutes or an hour before we go to bed, because sleep is the most organic way we can renew our body and our mind. It's easy to get caught up in our circle of concern when we're in a challenging situation, but we can ask ourselves this question: how can I move it? How can I move it from my circle of concern to my circle of influence? What can I do? We have a choice about where we spend our mental energy. 50,000 thoughts a day, some of them positive, some of them negative, and some of the same ones over and over again. And hey, if it doesn't lift you up, we can choose to let it go. If it doesn't help you grow, we can choose to let it go. We have a choice about which thoughts we pay attention to. Tip number 3, at the end of the day, to close it off, think of one thing that lifted you up. Now, maybe that's a challenge. Maybe it was one of those days where you just stamped out fires or talked people off a ledge. But think of one thing that sparked it up for you. Maybe it was somebody that made you laugh or warmed your heart, a thank you from a patient or a resident, somebody you know you made an impact on. Think about that experience. Maybe it was a sip of tea or a pull on your coffee in the morning. Lengthen that experience. Pay attention to it, because the more we lengthen that positive experience, the longer those positive neurons are firing. And when they're firing, they're rewiring. So we're actually strengthening our positive neural pathways. And this is actually how they help patients cope with PTSD. Also, what we think about before we go to bed, we marinate in for the next 7 to 8 hours. So let's make it positive. And you might find you'll be on the lookout for the things that lift you up. These are all small steps that we can take to bolster our resilience, to maintain a positive mindset. We're going to get through this. We're going to be stronger for it. So remember, tip number 1, what are you grateful for? Tip number 2, stay within your circle of influence. Tip number 3, what lifted you up at the end of the day? I want to thank you for the incredible work that you do, frontline leadership role, and the impact that you have on the patients and the residents that you care for. Stay healthy, stay strong.